It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of January 19th, 1996. All two of them, because we only have one new release this weekend. The other movie that we're looking at is one that apparently came out over Christmas weekend, and it wasn't on Box Office Mojo's website until this particular weekend, so I completely forgot that this movie even came out. But we'll get to that one in a little bit. But first, let's talk about the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino, who also co-writes this, starring in From Dusk Till Dawn from director Robert Rodriguez. I mean, honestly, if you're not sold by that point, then you probably shouldn't be watching this movie. But this is a friggin' amazing movie, man. It's a great B movie. This feels like something out of Tales from the Crypt, honestly. Like, this is a story that you'd probably see on an episode of Tales from the Crypt. Or even so, this actually turned out to be a lot better than the actual Tales from the Crypt movie that we'd actually get later on in the year, a couple weeks after this movie came out. But, yeah, this movie's pretty friggin' awesome, man. It's a fun B movie. George Clooney starring in this with Quentin Tarantino. In fact, this is one of the first movies George Clooney did after he found success with ER, and that kind of essentially launched his movie career after starting with this particular film, because he'd have a couple other films after this. But this was the film that kind of jump-started that career. But him and Quentin Tarantino work off each other very well as these two main characters, and you got a great cast overall, including Harvey Keitel, Juliette Lewis, and Salma Hayek, man. I mean, she is something else in this movie. How do I put this? You know what? I'll let my friend Durant Cinema give you an idea of how Salma Hayek is in this movie.
I love the way that they use the image. I love the way that they use the image. I love the way that they use the image.
I think that pretty much sums it up right there. I mean, even when she turns into a vampire, I can't help. I mean, you can't help it. She still looks friggin' hot, man. I mean, and she's pretty good in the movie too. Like, she actually is a fun character in this movie, even when she turns into the vampire. I mean, the creature work in this movie is really impressive. The makeup work in here is very well done. I mean, the movie is just so fun. It's such over-the-top, violent fun that you just really can't help but really admire it if you go into this with the right mindset. I think if you go into this with the mindset that, like, if you like the Grindhouse movies or something of those, something like the more over-the-top movies that Tarantino and Rodriguez have been known to be around in, you'll definitely find a lot to really appreciate about this movie. I mean, I really had a good time with this movie the first time I saw it. It's a ton of fun, great lines in this movie, great action all around, a great visual feel to it. It's just an amazing, amazing movie, amazing fun B-movie film that's just so much fun to watch. Anytime I watch it, I have a good time watching it. What more do I even need to say about it? From Dusk Till Dawn, fantastic film. If you love B-movies, you're definitely going to love this one. So that's the new release that came out this weekend. Let's talk about that other movie I was talking about, and that is Richard Dreyfuss starring in Mr. Holland's Opus. That other inspiring teacher movie from Disney that came out in 1995, and certainly the one that didn't have the most lasting impact compared to Dangerous Minds, but I mean, it did pretty well in terms of critical success, box office success, and eventually got nominated for several awards, including Richard Dreyfuss getting an Academy Award nomination for this. This movie could have easily been yet another Dead Poet Society. In fact, it very much feels like it's closing in on being just another Dead Poet Society, but I was actually really surprised at how much I enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed this. I think I enjoy it a little bit more, honestly, than Dead Poet Society. And I think that it's not just because of the great performances. You got Richard Dreyfuss, Glenn Heady, Olympia Dukakis, William H. Macy, Jay Thomas, Jean Louisa Kelly from Yes Dear, Alicia Witt, Forrest Whitaker's also in here. Just really good talent all around. Terrence Howard. But I think what really makes it work a little bit better is that the story is very well written. It's amazing that this came from the same writer who also did Nick of Time, that terrible real-time thriller that we looked at a couple weeks ago with Johnny Depp. But this is definitely a huge improvement on that. And it does do things a little bit differently. It's not just the typical inspiring teacher story. There is a little bit of a hook there with adding the son who is deaf, which I think is a very interesting concept in the way they play it in the film. It actually plays out pretty well here. It's really an enjoyable film. It's one of Richard Dreyfuss' most underrated performances, honestly. I really don't think a lot of people really talk about it all that much, but it is a really good film, and it really works because of what they do here. It's not just the It doesn't really fall into the same typical cliches that we see in inspiring teacher films like this, but it does do things a little bit differently that makes it kind of stand out on its own, and that's something that I really, really like about this movie. It actually portrays people with deaf abilities in a better light than another Richard Dreyfuss movie did with Silent Fall a year prior to this, which was a terrible movie. But this one definitely did it a whole lot better. And even if you see a lot of the same tropes in these inspirational teacher films, you can definitely find a lot to enjoy about this movie. There is a lot to really admire about it. I highly recommend checking it out, even if you hate seeing these same movies over and over again. This is one of those few ones that actually does something really different and unique with it, and actually makes it kind of stand out on its own. I think it's a well-made film. I highly recommend checking it out. Mr. Holland's Opus. So with that said, a relatively small episode this week for Time About the Movies. When we meet next time, we'll have 4 movies to look at, including Christian Slater and Bed of Roses, Screamers, Tom Arnold and Rick Moranis and Big Bully, and also Once Upon a Time When We Were Colors. So we'll look at those 4 movies the next time we meet, and that won't be for at least a couple of weeks, because if you don't know already, I've talked about it a little bit in the couple of videos before this, but I'm going on vacation next week. I leave Friday morning, and I won't be back until the next Saturday. I'm going to be gone for all of Easter weekend, and then the week after that, I'm going to North Carolina. I'm going to spend some time in Raleigh, and then we're going to go out to the Outer Banks after that for the rest of the week. So that's why I won't be doing any of these Time About the Movies episodes for a little bit. So I won't be back until at least I come back next Saturday, and then I'll probably do another episode on the next Sunday after that. So that's why you won't be seeing a couple episodes for a while, because I'll be on vacation. I'll still put some stuff out here on the channel for you to see. And who knows, I might actually have a review for Super Mario Bros. I'm going to try to see if we can go see that sometime this weekend out in the theaters there. But, yeah, so that's why it's going to be until the next Sunday, which will be the 16th, when you'll see the next episode of this. So, until then, though, thank you very much for watching this. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And I will see you guys next time for another episode. So, until the next time I see you, take care.